I want to thank you for inviting me to contribute to your conference. I hope you'll find it interesting and useful. I'll share my screen now and hopefully we'll get there. Slideshow is what I want to do. Start from the first slide. So I've been having adventures in Korean Wikidata. They started with K-dramas, and I obviously wanted to find out more about some of the people. This is a person about whom I wish to find something. It's Chong Yak-yong, and the interest simply continues. Because I'm a Wikimedian, I want to improve English Wikipedia, and it's quite difficult because although articles exist for many of the historical personages, they exist solely in Korean Wikidata and are not easily found by this English speaker. I have to use Hangul to find them. I can't find them using the Romanizations usually. So Chong Yak-yong was one of the first people I found, and so he's there. That's one motivation. The other motivation is that I'm a statistician, and as a statistician, I believe that, well, I know that databases are not useful unless they're populated. Wikidata is a superb database. It can be easily queried and you can find out all kinds of things, but it needs information to be able to be effectively and most usefully queried. So, for example, when I first queried fortresses and xions, I found just 5. I've now got 368, so I'm rather pleased about that. So paging down, I've got some queries, and the first query I started with was just Q items without an English label. Now, because they cover all kinds of things, that's not perhaps the most useful way of tackling it. I did talk about this at Wikimania, and in particular with respect to heritage items. I'm currently tackling the problem via human beings. So the 2 queries 2 and 3 query humans that have some association with Korea. They might have been citizens of Baekje, Schiller, or Goguryeo, or Chosun, or I don't think I put in Empire of Japan, but I did put in Korea, North Korea, South Korea. And I've ordered them by year of birth because I'm interested in tackling the historical figures first. And you can see I've had a go at trying to do other kinds of things, bridges without labels, clans without an English label. That arose because I found Seoul's private Confucian academies, and often owned by a Korean family. And I was interested in the fortresses, and this is the one I used for adding data to Wikidata. This is the one that shows my progress because I'm interested in putting in the coordinates. And so you can see I've got various other things there as well. So let's take a look at a query. This is the very first query that I ran. It's in Sparkle, and you make it work by running, by hitting the run button. And it produces something like that. These ones are findable because they actually have instance of, but many of your items without English labels do not have them. Notice there's 33,000 of these. There's at least 12,000 that don't have instance of, which is a lot, and it means that they can't be found. You can't search on minus instance of. There's just too much Wikidata. So the technique is to click on this, which is a link, and then to find the co-wiki article and to start to add information. So looking at it, paging up, we can download that, and I did download that and create an open refined spreadsheet, which allows you to update not just one item at a time, but many items at a time. I discovered that Seong usually means fortress when it's at the end of the word, end of the Hangul string. And so I updated these. I'm still in the process of checking all of them. I'm nearly there, haven't fully got them. But the moment we have a descriptive, an instance of, it's searchable. It's searchable from the point of view of correcting it. It's searchable for finding what the coordinates are from the co-wiki or from a street address that might be in the cultural heritage item associated with the co-wiki page. But there we've got an update of 330 at a time, which is quite useful. And I'm still in the process of updating these and finding coordinates. This is a query, and it shows the coordinates that I've found, and it starts to show part of the history, I think, of Korea. One can see the Japanese invasions via the fortresses. So these are the links to the queries. I've actually put them up, I hope, on a project page in Korean Wikidata, and a link to the resources I've been using. Now, when I do the query on the people ordered by year of birth and year of death, I have a queue item on which to click, and I reach the queue item, and I then click on the Wikipedia entry, the co-wiki page, and start to pull in information from the co-wiki page. In particular, I've pulled in all of this stuff here. So I want to show you what it looks like when I've updated it. This is the part of the history of that page, and I've added an English label, a Chinese label, an English description. I've created a claim date of death, sex, back page up. Sex, I've hunted for the Encyclopedia of Korean Culture via the name string, the Hangul name string. Sometimes I have to subtract part of the Hangul, but I'm starting to be able to read Hangul, and so I'm getting better at that. And of course, I've added other claims, occupation, and I've added references. So you reference in Wikidata where possible. If the best you can do is that you've imported this fact from co-wiki, then you put that fact in. It doesn't actually tell, it just says that I've added a reference. It doesn't tell you what kind of reference it is. I suspect these are references that are justified via the Encyclopedia of Korean Culture, because if I've got that, that's a primary source that's external to Wikipedia, and it's a better source than a co-wiki article where you've got to hunt for the reference inside the article itself. So that's basically how I'm updating human beings, and I'm working from earliest to latest, so that I can actually put in things like grandfather. And at the moment, one of the key things I am trying to do is get up items from the Encyclopedia of Korean Culture. Now, there is a mix and match for that. I should have given you the address for it. I haven't. You can see that there's still a long way to go in terms of populating Wikidata with these identifiers. Mix and Match thinks it's possibly matched 43,000. I have searched through some of those. It was not successful for me, and it may be unsuccessful for you too, but and you can see that at this point, I am the major contributor to that. Basically contributing via the human beings and via my queries. So I'll return to these. These are my workhorses. These are the queries by which I update the Wikidata. I find the items that I want to update, and because I'm querying Wikidata, in general, I'm actually querying things that have a co-wiki page from which I can pull some information. So there we go. That's what I've been doing. It's been enormous fun, and I'm going to continue doing it. I still get immensely frustrated at not being able to find facts about Korea, either in your articles, your encyclopedia, or in English Wikipedia. So I hope you will might join me in this task. Thank you for your time. I need to stop sharing and I need to stop recording. So